farmer one day looked at a swamp in his farm and thought to himself, this would make a great racetrack. Since 1956, the track he conceived has become a major fixture on the U.S. dirt racing scene. Welcome to Wisconsin's fastest piece of real estate, Cedar Lake Speedway. My name is Finn Kuna here with Connor Horn. Connor, glad to have you back in the booth with me as we head to the next round, round 16, for these drivers in VDRA late model series.
This one should be a fun one, like you said, 0.56 mile racetrack, or 0.38 racetrack, excuse me, and this should be a pretty fun one. We're going to see kind of classic what we've been seeing the past few weeks, drivers ripping that top side once the bottom gets worn out, classic stuff, and hopefully we don't see anyone put into that little pond in the infield, but this should be pretty fun. We should see a lot of good racing, and we should see a lot of slide jobs as well. That could really play a factor in who wins this race. Yeah,
much bigger track compared to Hussets, where we were at last week, so drivers able to really rip around there. You can see the little pond in the middle of the track, the fountain going, as drivers are just wrapping up the last chances they can get here in practice, as they're just about heading to qualifying. And with a decent sized grid, again, we always talked about it, qualifying typically ends up being quite important for these drivers, because if you're in the back, not only do you have a lot more work for yourself, you also are in the splash zone, really, to say the least. You have a good chance of getting yourself caught up in a wreck.
It's a splash zone tonight, that's for sure, but it's really important, maybe not so much because of what can happen early on with crashes and whatnot, but these races are quick. If they're not features that are 80 to 100 laps, these races go quick in 50 laps. No matter what racetrack we go to, the times are pretty much always going to be below 15 to 20 seconds, or somewhere in that range, at least from the 12 to 20-second range. So 50 laps goes by just like that when you get green flag running, and if you get a yellow under 10 laps to go, it goes single file, so that makes track position even more important.
Makes it more important. We'll see what these drivers are going to line up as far as track position is concerned. So we head down to qualifying here. Travis Beckner already out on the racetrack, flying around out there. Carter Koop has put up a time. Very quick finished in the top three last week. Finished in third. Carter Koop gets knocked down the order a couple spots. The first couple drivers come across the line for Travis Beckner. I'm actually surprised to see him out on the track this early. We typically see him wait a little bit longer, but out there ready to go.
Must think the track's in good condition right now. Doesn't want it to get, won't get a little worn out. It must assume if they, sorry, I don't know what I'm thinking, but they must think it's too close to worn out to wait. So 13.027 was not good enough to improve for Travis Beckner. Ryan Swan on provisional pole right now, so a good run for him so far. Last week was Fairbury. Beckner picked up his 7th victory, led all but 2 laps at a race that I did not attend. As we'll see if anyone else can become a new winner tonight, just like we saw 2 weeks ago with Jaden Freiberger. He could not repeat, as Witherspoon has a crash after his qualifying effort. New name to me. I believe he was there last week, so his second start, he'll be down the order to start.
Yeah, decent driver as well. He definitely is on the higher part of the order, pecking order, so we'll see what he can do. Unfortunately, qualifying not that great for him. Back down in 10th, second slowest. Jaden Freiberger, I just saw him pop up one more spot, overtakes Clayton Johnson. He will move up one spot to P4. Looking at Mason Kane, as Jacob Cannon doesn't look like he's out on the track yet. Hasn't attempted to put down a time. He might be waiting till the end. Mason Kane, though, the only other driver out there putting a time down.
This is his first start in like 4 months as well, so Mason definitely going to be in for maybe a little bit of a learning curve, just getting readjusted to this car. The last start was Leland, 13th place all the way back April 2nd.
Has been a while for Mason Kane, but glad to see him back. Oop, that's not the fastest way around. As he gets on the tires, and that's always a thing to know. I like it when these tracks have those it's a little deterrent on the inside to keep drivers at bay and keep them respecting the track limits. So definitely want to be something you avoid, because we talked about how sensitive these tires are all season. A little bit of damage here and there and you're done for.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot the past few weeks, whether you're hitting the left front fender on the inside wall or you're bashing the right front and right rear against the outside wall, which we'll probably see that again tonight, by the way. But you got to keep the fenders on it. It matters. That downforce matters a lot in these cars, more than most people who don't race these probably imagine. So that's something these drivers got to be aware of. And Jacob Cannon certainly aware of that, as number 93 still looking for that first win, as he's the last driver to put a time down. First lap, 13.861. that's not going to go anywhere. We'll see what the second lap looks like.
And we saw just there out of turn 4, you see the car get very bogged down and really couldn't get back on the gas. Much better run this time. Was 1 and 2 good enough, though, to that slowdown out of 4 hurt his time. He'll go up to 4th place. Probably not exactly. You see a little bit of shake of the head. Not exactly what he would have liked, but decent qualifying position nonetheless.
Not much he could do, just wasn't fast enough. Didn't quite get all the way to the very bottom, but this might not be a track where you want to really flirt with those tires. And he was much better getting to the bottom at 3 and 4, but 1 and 2, not the case. As Brad Slaughter Jr. still running laps, trying to get a little bit of practice. Casey Borgmeyer doing the same. Bryce Senesac just pulled off. Ooh. And Brad's done.
And Brad decides he's done. Casey Borgmeyer, last driver out there on the racetrack. Just running for extra laps. He is set and done in qualifying. In fact, let's take a look at our qualifying order while we have the time. Ryan Swan taking pole position, and trying to double check here. I believe this might be his first. This is indeed his first pole position. So congratulations to the number 20. He's very solid qualifying time, just 0.02 of a second faster than Travis Beckner. Carter Koop, another solid result for him. He said, you know, he felt last week the Hot Six was like a home track to him, and he's put in a lot of laps there, and it showed. But Cedar Lake, too, he's looking pretty quick here as well.
Been pretty fast in qualifying and in some heats this season, so we'll see what Ryan Swan could possibly do tonight. Could be interesting. Could get that next different winner. Could be him, but obviously it's going to be hard to fend Beckner off. Jake Witherspoon starting further back than he would want to. Pancari Senesac, Jacob Bell all back there as well. Mason Kane didn't qualify too badly for his first race in a while. 7th place. I think he'll take that.
Yeah, that's actually not too bad, considering he was really struggling in the early part of that qualifying run. So pretty much smack dab midfield. Be a decent place for him to start from. As we head down to the track and set ourselves up for the first of 2 heats, 7 drivers each. And we'll take a look at our starting lineup in just a moment's time. Waiting for Ryan Swan to get on the grid.
Need our pole sitter.
Gets running, take it back from break.
Carter Koop put in all teams chat. Check his tires for dope. Nope, there it is. There he is.
Never quite know what you have in there. But taking a look at our running order for heat number 1, it'll be Ryan Swan in the number 20 machine, starting on pole for heat 1. Next to him, Carter Koop in the 52 lineup in 2nd place. Jaden Freiberger lined up in 3rd in the 24, with Mason Kane again a return to the series, starting in 4th. Casey Borgmeyer lined up in the 101 in 5th place, with Brent Bucari lined up in 6th, and Jake Witherspoon, who's going to be probably hoping for a much nicer run in this heat to move up some position. He's going to be in the back of the field in 7th.
7 cars in this heat will mean 7 in the next heat, so 2 heats once again tonight, but pretty stacked double heats, I would say, tonight, with a lot of fast drivers in this one, and obviously you're going to have to watch for Beckner, Cannon, and Clayton Johnson are all in heat too, so that should be an exciting 8 laps.
Yeah, it should be fun. I'm really liking this track, the way it's set up. It was fun driving around when I was getting people and shots done for this track. I can imagine these drivers really fun and a good amount of chance, hopefully, for some passing. We'll see what these drivers can be able to do as we get the racing started here. Off and away goes Ryan Swan, and we are green here for heat number 1. And immediately, Jaden Freiberger slides up in 2nd place. Oh, going for the lead. Contact with the 52 Carter Koop. Don't think he was expecting that. And the rear wing of Jaden Freiberger is gone.
I'm not sure how that fell off.
And he gets some contact from the 31. More contact. Look at them. 3, almost 4 wide. Freiberger getting beaten and thrown him out.
And it's these types of heats that can pretty much ruin your feature. I mean, he's going to start really far back. I don't know how the spoiler got taken off from that contact, but no more downforce on that car. Kane just slammed the wall in turn 2, but he looks like he got away with it as Johnson still shoving it up the inside, trying to get spots. He ran into Borgmeyer. He ran into... Oh, he stuffed Borgmeyer in the fence. And now the 10's got huge damage. The 101, excuse me.
Oh, and he just missed pit road entrance, so unless he can't make this thing around, we might see a caution come out. Very rare to see them in the heats, but they do happen here and there. Jake Witherspoon, some decent damage from all that contact, and Jaden Freiberger is struggling and just trying to move himself up the order and get those positions back.
Yeah, a heck of a dive into 3, and it pretty much carried all the way to the front straightaway, or I guess the back straightaway, where he just pretty much stuffed the 101 into the fence. Meanwhile, at the front, Ryan Swan got left front damage, but he did get away with the race lead, and Carter Koop 2nd. Witherspoon all the way up to 3rd, so a very productive heat for him.
Bormeyer's off the track, so 6 drivers remain on track as he's looking at the battle for 3rd place. Witherspoon.
Oh!
I was just about to say, a great run for him. Gets turned around. The caution will fly with 2 laps to go.
It's gonna be a good one tonight, I suppose.
Oh boy, this heat is the one. This has probably been the most exciting heat we've seen all season long. Let's take a look and see what happened there. Was it the dive from Mason Kane? He just went straight.
Yeah, he never got the car sideways. I think that's inexperience. I don't think he meant to do that. It just, like we said, it's his first race in his car in 4 months. He's gonna have to get used to that. We're trying to take a look at just everything that happened before we go back green. This was the initial start of the race. Where Freiberger, Ryan Swan, Carter Coop, they all come together.
Yeah, and this is right here, big dive for Freiberger. He had to check up, and I think Carter Coop wasn't expecting it. Everyone going sideways, and you see a little bit of damage that Carter Coop gave to the 24, then knocked the rear wing off. And then here, also some more pandemonium. Look at that. I'm amazed that everyone didn't wreck right there.
Oh my gosh, Freiberger was jacked up from Witherspoon. Borgmeyer got in that a little bit. I don't know. Little net code there, little net code there. That didn't look natural at all, and I just don't know how it rips the spoiler off. But funny enough, Freiberger's pace was still okay even without that, somehow. I mean, he's still 4th now.
Well, he's 4th, but everyone's caught back up, and he's still missing their rear wing, and it's so vital for these cars to get that downforce on the rear. He's going to have to finesse it. Going to have to try to make it work. We'll see what happens here. Ryan Swan will be leading the field back to green as the pace truck is, trying to get away from them. He goes flying off into turn 1. There goes Ryan Swan trying to hold on to this lead. He'll be starting on pole if you can hold on. Meanwhile, in behind, 2 by 2 they go.
3 wide almost. It's going to be 3 wide for 3rd. Swan 1st, Coop 2nd. Freiberger got 3rd out of all that. And I don't know who got the rest of the positions. I believe that was the white flag, actually. He got a green-white checker. And Freiberger got dumped.
And a big crash. Punkari trying to find a way around as the track is completely blocked. Ryan Swan, meanwhile, taking the win. Carter Coop 2nd place. And it'll be Witherspoon that'll come on 3rd. Freiberger 4th. Oh, boy.
Oh, man. My apologies. I did not know we had green-white checkers for this. So I thought that was the final lap. It wasn't. Freiberger ends up getting turned by Witherspoon. Kane got involved. Poor Brent Punkari did the respectful thing, got on the brakes, and then he had nowhere to go.
Yeah, I think that was kind of ride or die there for Witherspoon. I think he was trying to see if he can get that final spot. I'll try to take one final look at what happened here. You can see right there.
He's got a better run on Freiberger because of that damage on him. So Freiberger just can't get the gas. He cannot have as good of a run out of the corner, and I don't think Witherspoon was expecting that. And here's where I thought the race was over. It wasn't.
You see right there, Freiberger. I wonder if he was maybe a little annoyed with that block there, but he said he got a great run on him because he's got much more grip in the rear, and then complete track blockage there. Oh boy.
Not every day you're able to cause the wreck, be a part of the wreck, and still gain a position out of it, but it worked for him there.
Oh man, that was the heat that keeps on giving. Well, Heat 2's got a lot to live up for. I think for a lot of the drivers that were just watching it. So we'll see what they can deliver. Taking a look at the order for heat number 2. It'll be Travis Beckner starting on pole for this heat. Jacob Cannon lined up in the 93 in 2nd place. Moving on back to 3rd, Clayton Johnson. He'll be lined up in the 225 in 3rd place. Brad Slaughter Jr. lined up in 8th in 4th place. Back behind them, Casey Lacotis lined up in 5th in the 13 with Bryce Enizak in the 096. And rounding out your field of 7 will be Jacob Bell in the 77 machine.
About as stacked of a heat we've had all season. I mean, you got 3 top drivers here alone. Then you have some other drivers who are going to try to get through the field. Senesac can be a threat to get up there. We've seen Case Lacotis have some pretty good heats this season. But, you know, those top 3 are going to be hard to beat. There goes Beckner.
Off they go. And away they fly. Green flag in the air here at Cedar Lake in behind. Clayton Johnson trying to make a move to the inside of 93. Jake Cannon roughing them up. Here they go side by side into turns 3 and 4.
Already feeding him the right rear, already way up the track, almost stuffing him into a concrete wall. Here comes a slider to get the 2nd position. Cannon has been used up a lot this season since he started racing. He's going to get Clayton Johnson right back for the 2nd position. Little bit of contact, bumper to bumper there, as this is letting Beckner get away from these 2.
Trying to see if he can get clear, and look at Clayton Johnson riding that high line as he can, completely focused on trying to keep his line stuck on the bottom, but that outside lane starting to come through. Johnson again with another great run, beat him at the line.
And he's already against the wall with the right rear. Look how he ripped top, but it didn't really work out well. A lot of contact there out of turn number 2 as they came together, the two drivers. Cannon back to second. Johnson's going to try the crossover. Ooh. Dive deep into turn number 1, but he couldn't quite make it work. Beckner's long gone at this point. Left front damage on Cannon's car.
And Clayton Johnson's flirting with those tires on the inside. Got to be very careful. He's right on the edge to try to get some sort of purchase point to the inside of the 93. Cannon trying to hold his line in the middle of the track. He will be successful in that defense. As you mentioned, Travis Beckner taking off. He's loving what he's seeing in his rear mirror. He's got over a second lead to Cannon. Then Clayton Johnson still working that high line in the wall, in fact.
That's exactly what Beckner wants in the feature, though. If he can have those two battle for the second position, or just have anyone battle for second behind him, he could scoot away. That might be all he needs. As this time we're on the white flag. Oh, he's in the wall. Flip
in the
up
wall
and over.
And upside down. That'll end Clayton Johnson's run. But meanwhile, out of turn 4, Travis Beckner will come home, take the victory here in heat number 2. Cannon in second place with everyone else in behind getting promoted up a spot. It'll be Brad Slaughter, Bryson Zach, Bell Lacoste, and Clayton Johnson there at the end. I was interested in seeing what Johnson was going to do, but I think forced it a little bit too hard there.
And that's really tough for his starting position. He's going to start all the way dead last for the Wisconsin Nationals. Did not expect that, but you have that pit entry right there into turn number 1, so testing the limits of the way high line, you have to be bold and brave. A little bit too bold that time.
Yeah, a little bit too bold. We'll actually try to see if we can get a quick replay to see what happened there, but fortunate end to his run.
That was a big hit.
Would like it if iRacing would like to select a camera for me.
It almost looked eerily similar to the wreck we had in the real world on, I guess, last night or Monday night with Stuart Friesen. Where he kind of just he didn't really hit the blunt end of the wall, but
yeah, that was a nasty wreck, that one.
Yeah, hopefully he makes a full recovery. Friesen does.
Taking a look at the replay, and you see that he's just trying to send it a little bit too hard, went a little bit too high, and then just the way the car stuck in the ground and flipped end over end.
I do not want to be Brad Slaughter in that situation. I mean, yeah, just entered too high. Was never going to make that work. Slaughter just barely avoided him.
Take a look at Brad Slaughter's point of view there. I'm sure he had a code brown.
Almost looked like he got in the wall before entry, and it wouldn't turn because of that.
And here we go later in the day for these drivers as they're getting warmed up and ready to go. Taking a look at Brad Slaughter at the moment, and he's kind of hoping he can get a solid finish. He was running very well, if I'm not mistaken, last week at Hussett's before things went awry. Ended up finishing 12th. Has yet to crack the top 5 this season. Has definitely had the speed, but just not been able to get the finishes that he really needs or wants.
Now, 2.5 months ago, got his best finish at I-55, which was 6th place. He has 2 other top 10s, which he had Lima Land and Eldora back-to-back top 10s, but he only has one other besides that. 12th at Houston's 2 weeks ago. Jaden Freiberger looking for his second win in 3 races, as he's got the fastest time in this warm-up, and obviously had a struggle in the heat. Really didn't have a chance to run with a clean car, and he doesn't have a chance to run with a clean car right now. He's sandwiched between Carter Coop, who had a good first heat, and he's also got the 0-4 of Jake Witherspoon, who could be a tad aggressive tonight from what we saw in the first heat, as that is going to be... Oh, that's not going to work.
And not going to matter, because off we go, get ready for gridding. But I was going to say, for Jaden Freiberger, finally got the monkey off his back last week, and was able to get his first win of the season. See if he can make it 2 in a row. Now that Travis Beckner has a chance to defend himself.
Beckner has a chance to defend himself, but Ryan Swan on pole here. It's up to Beckner to get around him before Cannon or Clayton Johnson can get him.
Taking a look here as the grid gets lined up and ready to go. Again, this is round 16 of 24 for these drivers. The season getting closer and closer to an end. And, you know, looking as before these guys get going, taking a look at the point situation, Travis Beckner, we haven't really talked about a lot, but Travis Beckner actually is over a race ahead of Jaden Freiberger, just from all the wins that he's been able to collect and how consistently he's been able to finish. Out of his 14 starts, Beckner's finished in the top 10 every single time and has finished in the top 5 11 of those 14 attempts. So very solid running for Beckner. That's why he's got a 58-point lead.
That was only rivaled by Jordan Martin until Jordan Martin obviously started missing races. Martin hadn't raced since Lucas Oil in May, but Jordan Martin was consistent as well as Beckner, but Beckner was obviously getting the wins, and now he's up to 7 on the season. Gonna be tough to take down that 27. You got Borgmeyer 98 back, Bryce Senesak's 150 back. He's 4th in points, so not a bad season for him so far. I believe he's one of the few drivers who has made 15 starts this season, including Borgmeyer, Coop, and Lakatos.
And we'll see if we may have a chance for a new winner tonight. Ryan Swan starting on pole. A great qualifying lap for him. First pole of the season. Can he get it done? Can he execute? We'll see if he can do so, or Full Beckner will try to hunt for his 8th win of the season. Carter Koop also sitting in behind. Even Jacob Cannon, too. He's been up there, the 93, but not been able to get his first win of the season after he started appearing in the series in the middle of the year. Pace truck is off and away. Ryan Swan in control of the field. Off we go, and we are green here at Cedar Lake.
Swan just did not get the start he needed. Beckner's going to already have the race lead away.
Have the race lead away as the field slides their way through 3 and 4 and back to the start-finish line. It'll be Travis Beckner in the lead. Ryan Swan immediately going to the bottom of the racetrack. Meanwhile, 3 wide in behind. As you see Jake Witherspoon trying to make up some spots. You see Jaden Freiberg also trying to get to the inside.
Coop kind of on the top side, maybe holding up the 0-4 a little bit, but that outside is going to become the preferred lane soon enough. RC Freiberger right next to it. Mason Kane almost got into the wall a little bit. Beckner starts to scoot away. Cannon tries to work over the 23 wide for that 4th position with Freiberger poking his nose on the bottom of the racetrack. Now back to the top of the racetrack. Clayton Johnson already working over Mason Kane for 9th.
Great battle for position in the back. You see a slide job there is Johnson on through past 31. Mason Kane tries to come back on the bottom. A little bit of contact in the front straightaway.
A little bit of a squeeze, no harm, no foul there, but the real issue is the stack up at the front. Ryan Swan running that top side is not budging, but in fairness to him, Beckner's not really getting away, so it's not like he's really holding up the field that much. Beckner's just kind of sitting there, maybe trying to save his stuff as Witherspoon tried to throw a slider on Coop for 4th, couldn't do it. They're 3 wide again. Freiberger trying to get that way bottom side, trying to get that working, but doesn't seem to be much there.
Take a look at Jake Witherspoon in behind in 5th. I thought he moved up a spot, but he actually kind of just maintained position in 5th place. The really biggest mover of the race so far is Clayton Johnson's already moved up a couple spots from 14th to 9th, and I think he's still actually just saw him in the picture frame there, trying to get around Bryce Senesak, who's stuck on the bottom side. Actually, to the middle, to the inside of Brad Slaughter as well.
Oh man, that's a dicey move. He's going to get Senesak. Now he's got to work over the 8, but we're only 9 laps in, and look at this track. Slide job by Slaughter there. As you can see everyone already against the top side, bottom side already useless at this point. As there's the slider from Johnson, crossover from the 8 of Slaughter. Great stuff for 7th. The Slaughter's going to try. It's Freiberger. Freiberger's able to save it. That's going to give Clayton Johnson the spot. That was almost a disaster.
That was almost disastrous there. Freiberger able to recollect a little bit. Try to push forward, but Clayton Johnson, big slide is inside. And I gotta imagine that 225, his tires are gonna wear out. We've heard many guys talk about the tire wear this season, and I imagine Clayton Johnson, he can't keep up the space for much longer as he still tries to fight the inside of Freiberger.
Senesak threw a slider on the 8, and it did not work. They had contact, but they both kept it straight. But now the 8 has some front end damage, as this is probably the toughest battle Clayton Johnson's had so far, as Jaden Freiberger won't go away easily, but now he's kind of trapped on the bottom side as everyone else is trapped on the top side, as no one's budged since about lap 5. As it looked like Beckner actually went a little bit lower, maybe trying to test the waters, but he's not pulling away quite yet.
Yeah, you can see everyone kind of flying in formation in the top 5. Ooh, as Ryan Swan gets a little bit of contact to that outside wall in turns 1 and 2. Jacob Cannon following into Carter Koop's maintained position in 4th. You see Witherspoon work to the bottom. We've seen he's been aggressive. He's been willing to use the fenders on this car. And you saw a failed attempt from Carter Koop to the inside. Now Witherspoon will have his hand to the inside.
To go, you don't want to just bump him out of the way from the top side, as he's going to squeeze Carter Koop into the wall, so maybe that's one way to bump him out of the way, but you don't want to do that too much, as he's going to slide aggressively in front of Koop, slaps the wall himself. Koop gives him a little bit of a tap there, but he got the 4th position away. Beckner finally starting to stretch his lead just a little bit. It will be interesting if they catch lap traffic, what they do, because pretty much the entire field's still planted to the top side, except maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, you're able to dive and make that move, but if you're going to dive, you have to commit, make sure that it sticks. Couple positions straight in the back. We saw that Clayton Johnson was making a dive, try to go to the inside of Carter Koop.
I thought he was about to crash. I didn't think he was going to get that thing stopped, but he tried it. You just see there's no grip down there, and the way bottom of the track I don't think is banked at all, so that's why it's really just not going to work. There's so much more banking on the top side. As you can see how those guys go up the hill almost in turn number 1, but that was a great corner for Johnson on the top side. He got a run on Carter Coop to make this slide job pretty easy. Coop going to cross him over. He'll get him back here. See how many times he can kind of fend this 225 off.
Oh,
that was a great crossover. That was perfect.
That's a textbook crossover right there. Great move, and Johnson up to 5th place, up 9 positions since the start of the race in just 20 laps. He's done a fantastic job getting this car up here. And now it's just a matter, now that he's at the front, now it's a matter of trying to catch this man, Travis Beckner, who everyone's been chasing all season long. Ryan Swan almost seems like he's about to be the cork in the bottle because he's got Jacob Cannon and Jake Witherspoon bringing down his death.
Best getting through the field because he's had to do it a lot of times this season. Is finally into the top 5 after 20 laps, but you could see these drivers behind the 20 getting restless. Ryan Swan not as fast as Beckner. It's now up to about a 0.8 to 1 second gap. Cannon trying to run a different line, trying to get by this 20 car, but just can't quite do it. It's not going to be an easy pass. Witherspoon dove bottom, but Cannon committed down there, and they almost had more contact.
Yeah, I think Jake McCannon's going to have to pull a move similar to Clayton Johnson. I think that's why Johnson's been so successful. He's been absolutely sending it and hoping that drivers check up and try to avoid him. And that's where he manages to get the move, get the spot, and get the execution done. Cannon still tries to work to that middle lane, but like you mentioned before, there's just not a lot of grip outside of that top lane.
Still not seeing many drivers even try the way bottom. Beckner even just moved down a tad there. Maybe the top side getting a little too worn out. He's trying just stuff maybe to keep the tires cool or just trying to make sure he has options if drivers get to him. You saw Ryan Swan really drag against the outside wall there. I think Cannon wanted to try the slide job, just didn't quite have enough on him to make that work as we're past halfway now.
Past the halfway point, clean and green so far as you see Witherspoon up on the wall. You can see that cushion's really formed a lot. You can really get that right tire, that right rear tire up and on it. And almost a little, break the traction of the car a little bit with how high it's banked up there. See Ryan Swan trying to use it a little bit to ride and get a run, keep that position going as Jacob Cannon, he just needs to slide in front, didn't commit to it. He still got Ryan Swan to his outside.
I think Ryan Swan's a little bit too good through the center to make this slide job work, so he's being very patient and very respectful of the 20 and trying to make this pass cleanly, not committing to that slide job. I think Swan just finally gave up, and he might have given him the spot if he just didn't have traction at a 4, but Cannon finally to second. Clayton Johnson, big dive on Witherspoon for that 3rd position, or 4th position, almost became the battle for a 3rd as he's using up the 0-4.
Yeah, he's not out there to make friends. He wants to get things done. And he's willing to push it and make it work. And we saw his aggression bit him in the rear in heat number 2, ended up flying onto the outside wall. As a big dive on Ryan Swan as he tries to do the crossover. Bit of contact there on the front straightaway.
Clayton Johnson able to keep it off the outside wall from flipping this time. I saw Freiberger
up to 3rd, he secures it.
Wow, that was just unbelievable how fast he is, although I don't know if he'll have anything left to get the Beckner, but this is still an incredible drive as the 20 and 0-4 come together a little bit there. So Johnson 3rd, Swan's going to slip back all the way to 5th now, so 20 starting to finally get shuffled, unfortunately. Freiberger and Carter Coop have been going at it for the 6th position. Freiberger just got it back from him as trying to see if that gap from Cannon the Beckner's coming down. Not necessarily, still about 2 seconds right now.
You're taking a look. Whoa! It's not going to come down like that. As you see, Johnson is willing to move people out of the way, and I can't imagine Jacob Cannon's going to have much of that.
It's unfortunate because Jacob Cannon, he races people with respect, but if he's had a lot of times where he's been driven into and has had to drive them the same way they drive them, and right now it's another case of that. Same thing as the Heat. Exactly what Beckner wants. He wants them to battle hard, get into it with each other, and he'll be gone. This lap traffic won't be a big issue for him because he has the room to maneuver around it as he puts Case Lakatos and trying to get Jacob Bell 1 lap down.
You see him really committing to that inside lane as he's hoping. I think he's just really hoping that Clayton Johnson hits the wall and wipes out like he did in Heat 2. Him and Witherspoon are really flirting with the wall, and he switches back to the inside, tries to move Cannon up the racetrack a little bit, moves him again.
Funny enough, they were faster than Beckner that time, but more they do that, it won't matter as Clayton Johnson commits bottom this time. Cannon, good enough run to clear the 225. Johnson going to recommit back to the top side. It seems like they pushed that cushion up so much and the groove up there so much, it's just not as effective as it was. Now Cannon kind of blocks that line in 3 and 4. Clayton Johnson kind of runs a diamond there and got a big run on the 93, enough to pull a slide job right here, and he will.
And he'll secure the spot. Clayton Johnson up to second place. Not done yet. As you see, the 93 Cannon, he wants that spot back.
Got to run. Gonna have a run to his bumper, a little contact, maybe a little bump and run. It's gonna move Clayton Johnson, kind of force him up the track. Oh, spin right in front of them. Mason Kane's around. Caution is out.
Oh boy. Oh, and Jacob Bell.
Witherspoon. Jake Witherspoon into it. Big damage. Lost the left front.
And after nearly 40 laps of green flag running, a caution will slow things down for the first time tonight in the feature race. And ooh, this is getting around Travis Beckner. It looks like Mason Kane and Jacob Bell.
Oh.
I think he hit the wall, and unfortunately, and there's Witherspoon making contact with Kane. So let's go back to see what happened here with the 31 of the 27. This is what initially set things off. So you're going to see Travis Beckner, there he goes sliding up on the inside, makes contact with the 31. Yeah. He goes around, tries to save it, can't. Bell hit the wall there. I think that destroyed his right front. And then Kane tried to get it going, and Witherspoon nowhere to go.
Been a few races in the past month or so where Travis Beckner has hit some lap traffic, and he just took a pretty good car in Witherspoon out of this race. I don't think there was much Witherspoon could really do there, but more than that, it puts Clayton Johnson right on him, and this is going to be, I believe, a single file restart.
It should be. We're under 10 to go. We're under 10 to go, but this is exactly what Clayton Johnson would have wanted. I think this is the best case scenario.
I think this is what Jacob Cannon and Jane Freiberg and Ryan Swan want.
Yes.
We've seen how these two race at the end. If you remember Charlotte months back, how that one ended, went into Dalton Kane's favor. I don't see why this doesn't happen again. I think those guys third on back are in the best spot.
Oh boy, this is going to get interesting here. We thought it was going to be all over for Travis Beckner, but he's going to be the man that has to control the field as he leads them back to green. Waiting to see where he goes. There he goes, off and away, looking in the mirror, trying to see where Johnson is at. A bit of a stack up at 3 and 4. Green flag back in the air for Beckner. As Clayton Johnson ripping around that outside, he wants that spot.
Gonna get a pretty decent run, but Beckner able to run the bottom just well enough. Now he kind of slid up in the middle of 3 and 4. It's gonna give that 225 a run. Beckner hit the wall on the front straightaway. Here comes the slide job right here. He's gonna get it. Here comes the crossover.
Crossover, Beckner to the inside, Johnson to the outside. And Beckner will slide up, and now Johnson will try to cut underneath him in turn 4. Couldn't quite get there, but is still alongside. He'll do the same.
Another crossover. It's just going to be the battle of crossovers. Same thing for third. Cannon and Freiberg keep going at it. Clayton Johnson tried to pinch Beckner. Beckner shoves him up the track. He gets the slider to work. Clayton Johnson crosses him over anyways. That could have been disaster right there. Jacob Cannon just waiting for a mistake from these two. He's right there, as is Freiberger. 5 to go next time by. This is good stuff. He's going to pinch Beckner down again. They go all the way up to the top of the racetrack, and that time by Clayton Johnson leads.
Clayton Johnson leads. This is getting very entertaining here. And if you're Jacob Cannon, honestly, I don't know if he has any sort of path around him unless these two wreck, which might happen here. Johnson pushes Beckner up the track. Here comes Cannon with the opportunity.
If Beckner has an opportunity, he'll get him back. Clayton Johnson's just going to go to the bottom, I think, just to avoid Beckner in reality. As Cannon's going to go for second. They're almost going to make contact out of turn 2. Cannon slides up, trying to get that second spot. Beckner's going to go 3 wide to the bottom.
And Clayton Johnson in the lead from back to first for just a brief second. Beckner goes back to the lead in the middle of 1 and 2. And then Johnson breaks away here. Coming to the line, it'll be 3 laps to go.
Caution. And I think it's for Jake Witherspoon sitting in the infield.
Oh yeah, that looks like it is. And Beckner, he was not happy there. You can see he's exhausted after dealing with all of that. And the same thing with Jacob Cannon too. You see he's also heated there on his camera. And we'll take a look and see what happened with Witherspoon to bring out the caution.
That was some of the best racing we've seen all season, and it looked like he just got on the tires all on his own and spun it.
Yeah, nothing you can really do at this point. I think he's trying to stay on the inside and just kind of hope that the racetrack ignored him. It works at a couple tracks on iRacing, but not all of them, and fortunately it seems like this is not one of them. So caution will fly again. Everyone will get a bit of a breather, but how about Clayton Johnson? As it looks like it's going to score him in first place because he led the previous lap. That's how these cautions work. When you don't count the caution laps, you go back to the previous lap, the order. Clayton Johnson.
And importantly enough, the last time by, Jacob Cannon was second and Beckner was third. So huge shift in this race. And also want to know, Jacob Bell's running around on 3 tires, but he's going to get what he can as we're going back green this time by. I guess this should be 2 or 3 laps on this restart.
It's scoring 3 laps to go. Should come down to 2. We'll see what iRacing decides. As Clayton Johnson will be the one to lead them back to green. Off and away he goes. Can he hold on for win number 3 and an immediate move from Freiberger to the inside of Beckner?
He went too early. It's a black flag for Freiberger, so he's going to be taken out of this one. Clayton Johnson got away with the lead. Don't know if Cannon has much left. He dives deep into turn number 3, but just can't get there.
Here we go, white flag in the air. 1 more lap to go here at Cedar Lake. Johnson up on the wall doing everything he can. He started in 14th position, and as he works his way through 3 and 4, he managed to get himself to the front of the field. He will take the win. Win number 3 for him at Cedar Lake.
He roughed some people up, but that was drive of the season. Unbelievable to get through there. He did need the yellow to get there, but still to get up there and outduel Beckner, that was unbelievable. And Jacob Cannon second. Beckner's probably going to be pretty upset with P3. Freiberger gets 4th. His black flag did get cleared, so we'll see if that's reviewed at all. But what a drive. I mean, that was unbelievable.
Definitely, I think you can argue that is one of the best drives of the season. He proved me wrong. I thought he was going to fall off at some point, but he had something in the tank. Didn't have things work out for him in the heats, but made up for it in the feature. Great, fantastic run for the 225 of Clayton Johnson as he celebrates a very hard-earned victory. We'll take a look at your finishing order with him taking the win. Jacob Cannon as the fireworks fire off in the background. Travis Beckner holding on for 3rd place as Jaden Freiberger. Actually, you said it was a black flag, but it is still actually scoring him in 4th place. So that'll be something interesting to look at. Ryan Swan in 5th. Carter Koop finishes in 6th place. Unfortunate because he had a really quick car. Didn't quite have it at the end. Bryce Senizak 7th. Borgmeyer 8th. Brad Slaughter 9th. And Brent Bukari in 10th place.
Freiberger got a black flag on the restart because I thought he passed Beckner before the green came out, but they cleared it, so I'm sure it will be reviewed post-race a little bit. Witherspoon ran top 5, doesn't get the finish he deserves. Case Lakatis, really the only driver to get completely trapped 1 lap down, and Jacob Bell, Mason Kane were the drivers involved in that lap 41 crash that really changed this race big time. Bell 13th, Kane 14th.
And a fantastic run there to the end. That was exciting. The heats are exciting. The feature race, even more exciting somehow. These drivers really managed to put on a show. Let's get started with talking to some of our drivers waiting on Travis Beckner, but I think we'll talk to Jacob Cannon, who's sitting in the waiting room. Jacob, SimTV booth, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Ah, there we go. Perfect. Yeah, so we saw you there. You had a fantastic run there at the end, trying to make up position, trying to hold position, really, as it was absolute bloodbath across that top 5. I'm sure you're exhausted after that one.
Oh, yeah, we finally got the car dialed in there. I don't know what was going on during practice and qualifying. Had to make a few minor adjustments with wheel settings, and thank God we got it dialed in right there for the feature. I mean, honestly, if we was going for the 80 laps, I was honestly setting it up to be a good finish.
Yeah, we saw, again, just absolute carnage there. And then we saw Clayton Johnson. Do you feel like he used you up a little bit? We saw you try to get back at him, but unfortunately weren't able to get back past him on that initial green flag run.
Yeah, I don't know what the door slamming was for. I mean, I know Rubbin's racing, but, I mean, dude, if you're gonna sit there and make a pass, but I mean, don't sit there and junk somebody else's car while doing it. So, I mean, if he's wanting to talk about it, we'll talk about it, but just thank God it didn't take us out the race.
All right, Jacob, it was a really solid run for you. Definitely harder, and I'm sure you're going to take a break, take a little bit of a nap after that. Hard fought 2nd place. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. I want to go ahead and give my sponsors a shout out also. I want to shout out Majulsi Speed Shop, Sweet Victory Seats, Sweet Victory Apparel, David Cannon's Lawn Care Service, Hoosier Racing Tires, VP Racing Fuels, Schaefer's Racing Oil, Longhorn Chassis, TAC 3 Defense, and yeah, we'll catch y'all next week.
All right. Moving on to our 3rd place driver, Travis Beckner. And Travis, normally we've been the one talking to you, at least for most of the season, we've been talking to you last. Unfortunately, probably not happy or thrilled that we're going to be talking to you in 3rd place. Tell us what happened from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, complete mistake on my end. I was running my regular line, running top 1 and 2, slider line 3 and 4, and then I just ran up on Mason and just wiped him out. I mean, it wasn't anything intentional. Sucks that everybody that got involved in it. I'm sorry, but yeah, I straight up, I just screwed myself over, screwed up the race, and just I definitely had the car to beat. I still had tires on it. It's just screwed myself over. That's all I can say.
Yeah, you know, going back to those last 2 restarts that we had after that long 40-lap green flag run, did you feel like you were kind of used up your tires, used up your equipment in the earlier run, and that's how Cannon and Johnson were able to get past you?
No, I don't know. I was expecting a slider going into 1 and 2 on the start, so I ran the bottom, he ran the top, got the momentum off of 2, and then from there, that's just pretty much all she wrote. And yeah, if that caution didn't come out with 2 to go, that would have been an amazing finish, though, between Cannon, Johnson, and I. But like I said, screwed myself over. It sucks the caution came out. Sorry to Mason. I genuinely did not mean to do that. Sorry to Jacob Bell. Sorry to Witherspoon. It's just a mistake on my end. Need to get better with it and need to come back. I don't know if we're racing next week, but need to come back to the next race not doing that and just need to keep it forward and not take anybody out.
All right, well, Travis, solid run nonetheless. You've been doing fantastic in the point standings. Got over a race lead to your next competitor, so congratulations on another solid finish in your top 3.
Thank you. Before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Hendry County Motorsports Park, Wilson Race Cars, Cosman for making this paint scheme at Splash and Go Graphics. Let's see, grandparents, my dad, everybody that watched the stream tonight, everybody that came out to race tonight. Still need to get that car count up. I mean, we got a better car count than last week. Just trying to get on Dawson to put up races during the week to see if we could get this league more advertised out there and get more people to register. So yeah, and y'all taking the time out your day to come broadcast this. I will say week in and week out, y'all have the best broadcast on iRacing.
Thank you, Travis. Thanks for talking to us.
Have a good one.
All right, and last, but certainly not least, and he definitely was last on the starting position, Clayton Johnson. From last to first, very rarely do you see that, and as well executed as you managed to pull it off. Tell us how you were able to even pull that off, because that was probably one of the best drives. Connor was saying it too. One of the best drives you've seen all season.
Oh man, absolutely. You know, it was one of them deals where all them guys were kind of looking through the moisture throughout the track, and I figured the only way I'm gonna get through this field is it's either on the, it's just, I don't want to say wall riding, but it's up on the fence getting it done. And I hated to get into the people that I did. Like that's the worst thing that I ever want to do while doing these league races. But I mean, when you're starting last and you want to win the race, like, and especially when you know you're faster than some of those guys, it's hard to mess around knowing you only got a certain amount of laps.
Yeah, and you know, tell us about that, because we obviously saw you went a little bit too far in Heat 2. You went up into the wall, flipped end over end. But even despite that, you still managed to, you were still up very much against the wall. How did you manage to find, or how did you even manage to know really like what was the limit when it came to pushing that hard?
Oh, absolutely. You know, in that heat race, I hit it just about perfect those first 2 laps before that, and kind of thought to myself, you know, let me drive it in here a little bit harder. And in that heat race, I found my limit pretty quick, and in the feature, let's just say I made sure not to do that again. Yeah.
All right, Clayton, very solid run. Again, not even solid really at this point. Fantastic run from last place to first. Great job. You managed to get win number 3 to your name. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And with that, I'll be wrapping up interviews here tonight at Cedar Lake. And oh boy, Connor, that was an exciting one.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That was definitely one of the best sequences of racing for those, 7-8 laps with Cannon, Beckner, and Clayton Johnson on top of each other. That was some of the highlight stuff of this season, and there's no doubting that. I mean, that was absolutely unbelievable. Standings, Beckner, still a good day for him, still outpointed Freiberger, still a 62-point gap, but I'm sure he doesn't care about that. He wanted that win. He pretty much had it, but like he said, it was a mistake on his own part that kind of took him out from that big lead and let Clayton Johnson get to him. And obviously, Clayton Johnson, he's aggressive. He's going to use his right side. It's how he's going to race you. And I think Beckner knew that. He just couldn't get the lead, couldn't keep the lead at the right time before that yellow came out. And I think Clayton Johnson somehow still had some tires left on it, even if that went green and we didn't have that yellow on 3 to go. But and Jacob Cannon, still great finish for him. But obviously, I think he's getting sick of being raced like that as well. But great racing. I thought it was an interesting track. That top line came in pretty early, but we kind of saw 20 to go or so. That top kind of started going away. The bottom started coming back in. So just a little bit too late, I think that happened, but still great racing. This was a lot of fun.
Fantastic stuff. Some more action here at Cedar Lake Speedway. These guys put on a show. Clayton Johnson put on a show. Fantastic victory for him. That's going to be wrapping up things for tonight here. So another great night of action. Moving on to the rest of the season. I believe next week we have an off week. We do. So we're not going to be racing next week on August 6th, but we will be coming back on August 13th to Knoxville Raceway, the Hawkeye Classic. Another 50 laps on the board for these drivers. But that's going to be all for tonight here from Sim TV and VDRA Late Model Series at Cedar Lake. My name is Finney Nakuna here with Connor Horn, and thank you so much for watching.